My fiancée started acting distant. When confronted, she said she was introduced to the idea of an open relationship by her friends and wanted to give her sexual freedom a chance. Now, I am considering calling the whole relationship off. As it says in the title, my fiancé, ex, and I are 34 and 27 respectively, have been together for nearly 4 years overall, and are a year engaged. I'll be totally honest here, just before we got engaged, she had an emotional affair with a bloke she worked with. I only found out because one of her friend's boyfriends contacted me and said he overheard the friend group discussing it. I confronted her at the time, and after a good bit of arguing and hassle, we came to an agreement to let it go. I'll be totally honest in saying that I'm still slightly in the process of getting over that particular incident, and it discolored my view of her. I manned up, moved on, and proposed, which I had planned on doing anyway. This is just to give an overall context here and to make it known that there have been issues in the past. Fast forward to recent times. We are due to be married in November, traveling abroad for it with family, and back around October, she started acting a bit odd. Distant, not herself, away with the fairies. She even stopped being intimate with me in bed, which was very strange. I put it down to stress around organizing the wedding and the fact that we had moved flats. Forward to Christmas time, and now things are coming to a head. I confronted her straight up, and she said she was sorry and had just been stressed. I was very considerate and tried to help her through it. However, it basically continued on, ebbing and flowing throughout the next 2 months, up to yesterday. I arrived home from work last night, and she said she wanted to talk. The vibe was bad, guys, I could tell. We sat down, and she explained that she wasn't having second thoughts about the marriage but was questioning the nature of our relationship. At this point, I was getting agitated and demanded that she explain what she meant. Basically, a few of her friends had, back in October, the timelines matched up, introduced her to the idea of an open relationship, basically staying with their partners but having one-night stands on nights out if they fancy it. I'll be honest, the idea made me ill. I told her as much, but she asked to be heard out. She pulled out some blog post by a blogger who had a husband and live-in boyfriend. I got halfway through it before I told her enough of this nonsense. I wouldn't consider myself old-fashioned, but a wife or fiancé sleeping with other men will never be in fashion, not in my world, anyway. We got into a fight, and in the end, she was begging me to give it a chance, saying that nothing was set in stone. I said I needed some headspace and that I'd spend the weekend at my mate's. I left without a fuss. I'm typing this on my mate's laptop, and I'm in a bad mental way at the moment. I'm seriously considering calling the whole thing off, both the relationship and the wedding. Update. Hello, everyone. I said I'd post an update, in large part due to the massive response I got yesterday. In many ways, I was only posting to process the situation in my head, but I found many great pieces of advice and support in the comments. Thanks to everyone who posted. I spent last night at my mate's, who was absolutely sound about the situation. He basically gave advice that matched much of what I read in the comments, to call off the relationship. We had a few drinks, a bit of banter, and this morning, I went back to the flat and confronted her. She was there, neither of us works on Saturdays, and I set out my stance as straightforwardly as I could. Basically, I said that I didn't want to continue the relationship and that it was better to call the whole thing off. The wedding details are merely financial and not too bad to cancel, but at this rate, we couldn't continue to be together as we clearly wanted different things. She expressed her feelings, saying we still had a chance, that it could work, and asking me to give sexual freedom a chance. Look, I'm no crazy prude, but this just isn't my thing. I told her I'd come back over the weekend to collect my things, it's a rented flat, no big obligation there, and that she could keep the place if she wanted. I'd stay with my mate for a while to get myself sorted. Towards the end, we had a full-blown shouting argument, but I stood my ground and didn't change my course. Not this time, boys and girls. I left, and there's not much more to say, really. As I type this, my mate and I are having a few cans, and my phone has been exploding since 5 o'clock with her friends and her sister calling me a prick and a sexist, for some reason. I'll be grand. To be totally honest, I feel a bit liberated, if that's not too cheesy. In the coming days, I'll get everything sorted, the moving and that, but as my father used to say, there's always fucking worse.